New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
It's me, Bonnie. Yes, Bonnie Morgan Gonzalez, your doula for grief. And welcome back. I am just so honored that you've tuned in today, and just looking forward to settling in and having a good, rich discussion today. And I am here. The purpose of your doula for grief is to continue to move the needle on the dialogue of bringing grief into our everyday life, grief into our everyday conversations, allowing grief to work its magic on us, allowing grief heals. That is what grief is all about. Grief is actually healing us from loss. Loss is what we experience, and grief is what we feel. And grief has a myriad of emotions. Of course, anger, sadness, depression, guilt, regret, joy. Grief really just has a huge range of emotions. And ours is to honor each emotion that comes up, because each one has value, each one has a message, each one of those emotions, if we can allow ourselves to just lean into those emotions, if we can allow ourselves to be in the moment with what comes up, that those moments are part of the transformation. I saw a little blurb the other day that said something like, I'm paraphrasing, so it may not be absolutely correct, but it said that the butterfly never looks back at the caterpillar in shame, because it knows that that was all a part of the transformation. So honoring what we feel versus feeling shame around it or denial and feeling less than. So embrace what comes up during grief. And I know last week we were all getting ready for Mother's Day. So happy belated Mother's Day. And just happy day to all of us that celebrated yesterday. But I'm down here in Jalisco, Mexico. And so tomorrow is Mother's Day. Big celebration. There's been people out selling flowers and getting ready. And I called to make a couple appointments, and it was, mañana es Dia de las Madres. It's like, oh, okay. So it's a big celebration coming up, and I feel honored to be here to see how other cultures celebrate Mother's Day. And that's a part of being a global world traveler or a digital nomad. I get to see different cultures and experience that. So I'm truly honored. And I heard from some friends and got some emails from people that were actually listening last week about grief around Mother's Day. And they were just willing to share. I have one friend, her name is Megan, who said that she made an altar. She was one that made an altar, and she even included her grandmother in the altar. And I thought that was so precious. As it said, that we get carried by our grandmothers. That's females. When we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have. So as that fetus is in the grandma's womb, you're being carried as well. So just thought that was a great reminder of that. I heard from other people having a different altar. They placed a picture of, well, not different, but this was what they did. I thought it was so sweet. They took a picture of their mom and put all of her, they did some baking and baked all of their mother's favorite desserts, cookies and cakes and pies. It seems, so that was truly sweet. But I just thought, wow, doing things like that. And as she was baking, she was saying that she just remembered the times of being in the kitchen with her mom and what joy that brought to both of them, and how her mother, during those times of baking, would tell stories about her life. So that just absolutely wonderful. I got invited to a gathering of women. It was on the waterfront, absolutely beautiful, mimosas and massages, and it was just a beautiful day. It was about 10 women, and the reason that happened is because the person that hosted the event said that she just did not want to be alone on Mother's Day, and was following one of those guideline plans that I talked about last week, was having a plan. Under the tools that I posted on Instagram, it was have a plan. Don't go through that day without a plan. Don't let it catch you off guard. So that was her way of not wanting to be alone. Her mother, she just lost her mother like 2 years ago, and it's still very, very painful for her. But we had a joyous and wonderful time. A couple other people did actual rituals, made rituals, and carried them through on Mother's Day yesterday. So it's just great to know that we can share not just the joyous times in our lives, but the sad times, the times where we don't feel so good. And it was just a healing for everyone there yesterday. Everyone went around and told stories about their mom or about their children or not having children. So it was truly a day of bonding. And I just thank everyone that shared with me. And if you want to join the Mexicans tomorrow, you can. You can celebrate again or do your ritual tomorrow or whatever you would like, however you would like to honor yourself or your mom. So you can do it again tomorrow. May 10th is always Mother's Day here in Mexico. So thank you for sharing with me. And today our topic is around what is a death doula? What is going on there, death doulas? So as our attitudes are changing around death and dying, and we're becoming more open in our conversations and with some realization that this is a taboo subject that we have turned away from for a long time, and now slowly turning back to look at death and end of life. And a death doula is defined by the International End of Life Doula Association, says death doulas help restore sacredness to dying, provide respite to exhausted caregivers, bringing deep meaning to the dying experience. And I had a guest scheduled for today. Her name is Debs Love, and she's a doula in training. But unfortunately, she's not able to join us today. She's ill, so my heart is with her, and let's just all take a minute to just send her some healing energy and for her to be able to join us as soon as she is better. So, Deb, holding you in the highest light with love today. And with that said, Deb will be rescheduled, as I said, as soon as she lets me know she's up to it. We will have her on because I would love to hear her. I would love to have her share her heartwarming stories around being a death doula. So with that said, since our sweet Debs is not here, I have a book that I read a few years ago, and that book has just always stayed with me. And the message of the book has always stayed with me because the title of the book is The 5 Invitations. Discovering what death can teach us about living fully. And I love that because that is what being in touch with our grief allows us to do, is to live fully, to live life full throttle. And the author of this book is Frank Ostaseski, and he is the co-founder of the Zen Hospice Project and founder of the Metta Institute. He's a Buddhist teacher and a leading voice in the end-of-life care. And I see Frank truly as a death doula. In reading this book, he has sat with, I want to say thousands, but I'll just say a large number of people that he has sat with and witnessed their life stories and honored their last wishes and just went out of his way to do different things that these patients would ask him to do. This was during the time of the AIDS epidemic. And for him to start this project in the midst of that. Debs, I see Debs has sent a thank you. And yes, Debs, you're so worthy. You're so worthy of being held in a special light today. And back to Frank, starting the Zen Hospice Project. And it was a major undertaking, and it sounds like at times it was really hard for him. I did find this part a little fascinating. I mean, can you imagine starting this project from, ground up? You were it. It was a lot of hours spent with getting the project going, raising money, doing all those things that was needed to make this project work. At that same time, he was a parent. I believe he had 4 boys. And he was saying, wow, it was harder parenting 4 teenagers than it was to start the Zen Hospice Project. So anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there to get a little chuckle out of you. So, so that you can see that parenting is not an easy job whatsoever. So we'll just delve right into how to live life more fully, following Frank's guidelines. And maybe you're already doing this. Maybe this is like a self-assessment test and not so much, I should do this and I should do that. Maybe it's a time to do a little check-in, seeing it in a positive light. But the first one is don't wait. Embracing the truth of constant change encourages us to not wait, to deeply engage with life, to be kinder, more compassionate, and forgiving. Don't wait is a pathway to fulfillment and an antidote to regret. And one of the questions under this self-assessment is, what is one unanticipated change you are grateful for? How did it open the door to a new possibility? And I'm going to just do some personal sharing here. around this. The first, it says, what is one unanticipated change you're grateful for? And that change is, back in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, my husband and I were renting just the most beautiful, perfect, fantastic house you could ever imagine. We had parties, we had wonderful times. The energy of that house was just so inviting and so welcoming. I could just see myself having lived there forever. But then one day, and as I said, in 2020, in June, the landlord called to say, oh, Bonnie, we're going to sell the property and wanted to ask you if you wanted to buy it, which was only like, in that time, probably about $1 million. Could be more now. But anyway, it was like, oh, let me think about that. I was so like taken back, as I said, this unanticipated change. And so I sat with that. It didn't feel like that was something that we needed to do at that time. Financially, that was just beyond our budget. So I had thoughts of, oh my goodness, rent is so expensive in the Bay Area. By the time I do first and last, it's the equivalent of having a down payment for a house. And I remember exactly where I was standing when this thought came. I was looking for something in the closet at 1 a.m. And there was a voice that just came. And I don't use this term often, but I just say it was the voice of God. And that voice said, Bonnie, don't look for another apartment. Just give everything away, sell everything, and move to Ireland. I have a daughter that lives in Ireland. And I got so excited with that I woke my husband up and I said, guess what? I said, I have this idea. How would you like to move to Ireland? And he says, oh, yeah, baby, let's do it. So we gave everything away, sold things. We got rid of everything that we had. If it didn't fit into 2 suitcases, it could not go. My husband had to have a little bit of a storage, but it was a very small storage. So you can imagine going from a big 4-bedroom house to those little units like the size of a room. So we gave everything away, moved to Ireland, and it's going to be 2 years ago. And it is the best thing that could have happened to me. Just the best thing. I have just had such tremendously wonderful, life-affirming experiences, finding out more about myself, my own resilience. And yes, I sometimes miss having my perfect house and my perfect bed that I would lay on after the end of a long day. But the rewards are greater than lying on my bed. Just wonderful, wonderful opportunities I've had because of that. And the second part of the question is not only what is one unexpected change you're grateful for, and how did it open the door to a new possibility? And it opened the door for a new possibility because my physical environment had changed, which my internal environment started to shift because of that. Being out of the US, no longer having certain pressures and worries, and just opened up the portal for new ideas to just flow through for me. So that is, don't wait. And the second part of that, and I'll let you answer this one. And as I said, if you have any questions or comments, or feel free to join the conversation. If you've read the book, if you know it, drop a question or a comment into the comment box. And the second part of Don't Wait is forgiveness can help us set down old paths. I'm sorry, Joe, I'm still with number 1. Thank you, though. Forgiveness can help us set down old pain and open us to love. What are the obstacles? What are the obstacles to forgiveness in your life? So ask yourself that. Okay, Jill, I'm ready for number 2. And that is welcome everything. Push nothing away. To welcome is to suspend our usual rush to judgment. Openness to paradox and contradiction is the basis for a skillful response to life. To welcome everything is an act of love. I'm going to read that once more. To welcome is to suspend our usual rush to judgment. Openness to paradox and contradiction is the basis for a skillful response to life. To welcome everything is an act of love. What is your tolerance for the unknown? I'm building my tolerance for the unknown. I've been asked so many times, oh, Polly, how long are you going to be in Mexico? Where are you going after Mexico? What's going to happen? And right now, I don't know. I don't know. I'm leaning into being okay with not knowing. And I won't bore you with my mental process around that, but I think I can breathe easy when I say I don't know. For a long time that took a lot of work to be able just to say you don't know. Okay, the second part of that is discuss the difference between acceptance and resignation. How do they feel different in your heart? What are the associated sensations in your body? I'll read that again. Discuss the difference between acceptance and resignation. How do they feel different in your body? What are the associated sensations in your body? And I'm glad to hear him ask that question about what are the sensations in your body. Getting back to the somatic responses and recognizing that our body has dialogue. Our body does speak to us. My old one was always, I just got a gut feeling. I got a gut feeling. And when he talks about what's the difference between acceptance and resignation? How do they feel different in your heart? And that was the part that allowed me to tap into how I really felt about acceptance and resignation. When I see the word, when I hear acceptance, I feel like, yes, I am saying, yes, I accept whatever the situation is, be it positive, negative, but I accept it and I can do something. I have the ability to bring about the desired response. And I have hope. That's it. I have hope. But when I feel into the word resignation, I feel flat and deflated. Like almost a sense of hopelessness. So I ask you to tap into that. Tap into how you feel in your body when things are going. Getting back to body language. As the Little Mermaid, Ursula, she says you got to have body language. But just your body does have its language for you. Your body does have information for you. And I think we're going to stop there, take a pause, and then come back and go through the 3 remaining invitations. So we'll take a quick break. Stay tuned. Bring a little notepad when you come back. And we'll just take...
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity. for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, welcome back. Do you feel refreshed? I do. We will continue with the book, The 5 Invitations, discovering what death can teach us about living fully. So the show is really not about death today. It's about living. It's about living fully. And using Frank Ostaseski's book to help us along the way. And as I said, or as a guide, as I said, Frank is the co-founder of the Zen Hospice Project and founder of the Metta Institute. And he's a Buddhist teacher and a leading voice in end-of-life care. And we're just going through, so we covered 1 and 2. And now we're going to discuss invitation number 3. And invitation number 3 invites us to bring your whole self to the experience. We lie to project a positive self-image, yet we all experience helplessness, fear, anger, ignorance. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means no part left out. So read it again. Bring your whole self to the experience. We lie to project a positive self-image, yet we all experience helplessness, fear, anger, ignorance. Wholeness does not mean perfection. It means no part left out. And here's a couple questions to ponder with that. The first one is, when we over-identify with a role or self-image, it defines us, it confines us, and reduces choice. What roles or self-image do you still carry that you no longer need? What roles or self-image do you still carry that you no longer need? And for me, mine was the role of I was a perfect mother, quote unquote, raising my kids. I was a perfect mother, still a perfect mother. And that is my role that the image that I had and that I held on to. And it's, wow, I didn't realize until some time, just maybe not too long ago, that saying that perfect mother really did limit me. Because when it was time to do things or to make a decision about what to do, it was always, well, a perfect mother would do this, but I'm not feeling that. Well, then you're not a perfect mother. What would a perfect mother do? And it's like, well, that's not really what I want to do. My children were starting to echo back to me that maybe I wasn't that perfect mother. It's like, let me just rethink this. And I did, and I let go of that perfect mother. I was a mother that had 4 children and loved them deeply. That's it. No judgments on myself, perfect or imperfect, or just different ways that I could, paint that picture. Just that I was a mother, that I am a mother now. So even though that sounds, it's like, well, what's wrong with saying that you're a perfect mother? Well, I know how it limited me. in my actions and the things that I felt that I could do when I was Miss Perfection versus being mom. I felt totally free to love and just be with them in whatever fashion that felt good for them and good for me. So that was one for me that was an eye-opener, just an eye-opener, how you can be confined by certain roles, even if it's a good role. And the second question to bring your whole self there, the second question is, even when we are devoted to compassionate action, we can become overwhelmed by suffering. How do you regulate yourself and restore contact with compassion? And I'll let you answer that one. When I see that question, what comes to mind for me? Being devoted to compassionate action. It's like it has to start with me. I've got to be compassionate with me. Because it says in this question, when we're devoted to compassionate action, we can become overwhelmed by suffering. So how do you regulate yourself and restore contact with compassion? And it's for me, turning that light, letting it shine inward. And we'll go to number 4. So find a place in the middle of things. We imagine rest will come when our to-do list is complete, or when we go on holiday. We think it requires a change of conditions. Suppose rest is a choice to be alert, to bring your attention fully to the moment. I'll read it again. We imagine rest will come when our to-do list is complete, or when we go on holiday. We think it requires a change of conditions. But suppose rest is a choice to be alert, to bring your attention fully to this moment. And it asks, share a moment when you felt calmness in the midst of chaos. And for me, I was going to say, prior to the show starting, you get a countdown and you know that it's going to be live in so many seconds. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is like nerve-wracking. But then I can just breathe and I'm suddenly calm. Just breathe and knowing that everything in this moment is perfect. Everything in this moment is perfect. Only outside of this moment is where I find trouble. But I would like to share with you about really chaotic times. Being a registered nurse, and I worked in ICU for, oh my goodness, long time, 25 years or so or more. And working in ICU, as you know, people are very critically ill. Emergencies can happen at any time, at any second. Things can go from 0 to full throttle in a matter of seconds. But I remember when I was a new nurse and realizing by working in intensive care, we had to respond to codes all over the hospital. And I was like, oh, that's almost overwhelming. But what was not overwhelming or what brought a sense of peace was that if you were on the code team, you had a specific assignment. If I was on the code team, then my responsibility maybe today is to be the one to bring the defibrillator, the device that delivers an electrical shock to the heart to restart it or to reset the rhythm. So that would be my job, to bring the defibrillator to the code, put the electrodes on and connect it, and do the readings and deliver the shot. Or I could be a recorder, that I would be recording the medications that were given, how many electrical shocks they've had, what resuscitation has to happen, have they been intubated. Just keeping track of exactly what time everything was done. And I could be the person that gives the medications. That's all I have to do is listen for what medications need to be given. Or if it's truly an emergency situation in ICU, the nurse is allowed by protocol, the protocols that you follow, of what medications to give until the doctor gets there. So that was just really a lot of responsibility. And I remember thinking, when I'm out with friends, things happen and go, oh, this is not life and death. Well, this, being on the code team, was a matter of life and death. And I was a new nurse and responding to codes, and I would just be so terrified that I would do the wrong thing, and I would have to go over in my mind which electrodes go where and what medications. But as time went on, I learned how to drop into stillness at any time, drop into that place of calm. And the first time that it happened, I thought, am I having an out-of-body experience? I'm not even nervous during this code. But then what really affirmed that this was a wonderful place to be is that I could see everything that was going on around me. I could even see other people's roles if the medication hadn't been given completely, or if there were pieces of equipment that maybe have become disconnected. I could see more in that calm state. I could just, almost like an eagle's eye, just see what was going on all around. And those experiences allowed me to, as Frank says, a feeling of calmness in the midst of chaos. And I just feel that it's a valuable tool, whatever experiences it takes to get you there, because we all have different experiences. But whatever experiences you can use that shows you what happens when calmness descends over you, how much more effective you can be, how totally present you can be for yourself, present to your own needs and in your body. So I offer that about finding a rest in the middle of everything. The second part of this question, to finding a rest in the middle of everything, is there are 3 common obstacles that shape all of our personalities. Do you tend to demand, defend, or distract in a new situation? What can you do to let go of some of these behaviors? So I'm going to read that again. There are 3 common obstacles that shape all of our personalities. Do you tend to demand, defend, or distract in a new situation? What can you do to let go of some of these behaviors? And when I look at the 3 obstacles, the demand, defend, or distract, I think, I don't do any of that. But I'm thinking, when I have that much resistance around it, that I am doing, you can best to believe doing something, or am I doing all 3? So I'll just pause there with that, and we'll just take another quick break and come back and finish moving through our last invitation. So we'll just take a quick break and be right back.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, and thank you for continuing to journey with me as we continue the book, The 5 Invitations, Discovering What Death Can Teach Us About Fully Living by Frank Ostaseski. And as I said, he is the founder of the Zen Project, the Zen Hospice Project. And that's from San Francisco, in San Francisco, and I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. So that makes it near and dear to my heart, but doesn't take anything away from the entire book that it's San Francisco, because we can all benefit. We can all benefit from these 5 invitations that allow us to live more fully. And I must say or echo to Frank that I have learned the most valuable lessons. I have learned I have been given life-changing information at the bedside of dying people. It's just for me, it was always an honor to be there at the bedside. So our last invitation is cultivate a don't know mind. Cultivate don't know mind. And that is, a don't know mind is characterized by curiosity, surprise, and wonder. It is receptive, ready to meet whatever shows up. It is an invitation to empty our minds and open our hearts. And you know that I'm going to read that once more, right? Cultivate don't know mind. A don't know mind is characterized by curiosity, surprise, and wonder. It is receptive, ready to meet whatever shows up. It is an invitation to empty our minds and open our hearts. The question for this is, surprises show us where we may have a fixed view or an attachment to a specific outcome. How did you respond to a surprise today? Were you flexible or not flexible? Me, not flexible. This morning, I woke up to jackhammers and pounding going on right next door, right along the wall of my living room. It's like, oh no, they can't do that today. I'm doing the show today. Everybody be able to hear the banging, and I'm sure you could hear a little bit of that going on. So I felt like I was not flexible, and I felt like I had a reason that I couldn't be flexible. But what I felt that I could do, going back to passion, just go out and explain that I have a program from here. It's 2 to 3. If you're going to have lunch, it'd be possible that you take lunch from 2 to 3, and it's hot outside. I'll be more than glad to give you refreshments. I really said beer. But anyway, and my daughter said you offer beer for them to drink while they're on the job working. So anyway, I offered refreshments, and it has held. I hear just a little bit of noise, but yeah, that's one of those where I felt like I was not being flexible. But I do have a niece who really She says, I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises. And I have to honor that because that's her wish. But I sometimes feel like, oh, but that's the juicy part of life is a surprise. There's nothing I like better than a wonderful surprise. So yes, that is, one second. Yeah, cultivate a don't know mind. Leaning into surprise. And if you don't like surprises, why? And the last question from this series of number 5 of a Don't Know Mind. Zen monks have a tradition of writing short death poems that express an essential truth discovered in one's life. And the request is that we are to write and share a 4-line poem that explores an important truth in your life. Maybe that's something you want to do. Or I would invite you to do it. See what happens. I'll read it again. Zen monks have a tradition of writing short death poems that express an essential truth discovered in one's life. Write and share a 4-line death poem that explores an important truth in your life. And if you're like me, when I first saw that, death poem, okay, that's going to bring everybody down. Oh, that's going to be sad. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be when you're sitting with someone that is dying and they're sharing stories of their lives, and some of it's so funny that you can't help but laugh in this moment and be able to add that to a poem. Maybe if you would like to write that poem and writing it from a humorous place, or writing it from a place that is filled with, such magnificent insights about the beauty of life, that it does not have to be at all a downer or sadness. I just see life as being really, as Frank said, filled with wonder and awe. And I'm one of those people that are living in curiosity around life. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And I used to be one of those people that what's going to happen next, I better hold my breath. It's like, but now, I've been able to relax into that. Relax into what life has to offer, the beauty of life. And with Frank's request, I did not write a poem. If I had had more time, I would have. But I will read you the poem that he uses to close the book. And this poem is Sono, is the person's name. Just read the poem. So Sono's death poem. Okay, she says, don't just stand there with your hair turning gray. Soon enough, the seas will shrink your little island. So while there is still the illusion of time, set out for another shore. No sense packing a bag. You won't be able to lift it into your boat. Give away all your collections. Take only new seeds and an old stick. Send out prayers on the wind before you sail. Don't be afraid. Someone knows you're coming. An extra fish has been salted. And this is by Mona, nicknamed Sono, Santa Cruz. She lived from 1928 to 1995. So what would your poem about death be about? And not just about death, but what you've learn from life? And do you feel that you're living your life fully? Do you feel that the invitations speak to you? Was there one invitation that really spoke to your heart? And if it did, journal to it. Write about it. Draw some art around it. Maybe even dance to it. Put some music on and dance to that invitation. I invite you to, you can find the book, of course, it's on Amazon. And just inviting you to review the invitations. See what you can take from your life. So that's the 5 invitations. And thank you so much, Joe, for just being all over that. I thank you so much. And I thank you all for listening. And I want to do a little bit of, I said I was offering this every week, just a little bit of do's and don'ts and tools for the week. And the do for this week is do be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. As Frank was talking about in there about, I call it suffering from compassion fatigue. Turn that compassion back on you. To be gentle and kind with you this week. And my don't would be, I was going to say releasing judgment and trying to reframe it to don't judge so quickly. Don't judge situations so quickly. Take a minute to breathe into those situations before you make that decision. And my tool for the week is, if you feel up to it, I invite you to just write yourself a little poem about your life. Only four sentences. And knowing that it's coming from you, that you're not reading it from anyone else, because you are filled with wisdom. You are filled with wisdom. I don't care how long you've been on this planet. I can assure you that you have learned something that someone else doesn't know, and that you could share that with them. So this week, do be kind. Don't judge so quickly. Don't judge a situation or a person quickly. And a tool, just try writing. As I said, just 4 lines. I did something, and maybe this helps too. If you find that you can't write, you can do like a mind map where you put one word in the middle, and it could be mind, M-I-N-D. And then what comes from that when you say that? There's judgment, there's sadness. What comes from that? That's really a simple way of being able to prime the pump with writing. So I thank you so much for being with me to move through these 5 invitations, and knowing that our Debs Love is at home healing and getting ready so that she can come and speak from her death doula experiences, and she's studying. So I know it's going to be a fantastic show when she's here. And I know that she's going to be here when the time is right, that everything is in divine timing. And she's home resting right now so that she can be here in divine time. And I just want to thank New Thought Media Network for holding the space and place and platform for me to speak. And not only myself, please go through the list of the programs that are offered. There is prayer happening on this network twice a day on New Thought Media Network. There's Rockin' the Love on Wednesday about relationships. And Laura Topper this morning had her cosmic prayer that's always cosmic, blast you right out of your seat with prayer. Care for the Caregivers is coming on tonight. Another fantastic show. You can't go wrong with with New Thought Media Network. You are being cared for. New Thought Media is holding the highest vision for all of us, for all of our lives. And so I say with that, make a donation, and let's just keep this going. Let's start sharing what's coming up on New Thought Media. Start sharing it with friends and letting other people know what you're enjoying. Even if you're watching this later, just send a note out, say, hey, there's that show on. You should tune in. There's that show, Your Doula for Grief. So with that, yes, I am Bonnie Morgan Gonzalez, your doula for grief. I am a grief coach. I'm a registered nurse and a religious science practitioner, all rolled into one, and a human being here on the planet, sharing this journey with each and every one of you. So I thank you so much. And Joe, thank you so much for being here to help make this all possible. So don't forget, hit that donate button, and I'll see you next Monday. And next Monday's theme will be on ritual. We talked about rituals for Mother's Day, and we're creating a special ritual for you for next week. So thank you so much. Have just a wonderful week until I see you again. Thank you. Ciao, ciao now. Bye.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.